Hi everybody, welcome back to 30 Days Until Dawn. We've been working on doing different poetry, fiction, or creative nonfiction prompts every day. I hope you've been keeping up. If you haven't been, that's okay too. You know, come and go as you like. Especially if you're doing fiction. If you're doing fiction, probably you're just going to use 4 of these prompts maybe. Do a short story every single week, something like that. And that's great. Please, when you're done, post it down below. I'm married to someone who is an art history specialist, and she studied the classical world. And those things that we know as Greek are a reaction to something, right? Those ancient Greeks that we think of are not truly the oldest Greeks. Those ancient Greeks came and they had what they considered a dark age of Greece. And the dark age of Greece was a time between when they were and a previous culture. This culture they called the Cyclopean culture. There's Cyclopean architecture, and these consist. What they kind of became aware. They kind of woke up out of this dark age, and they saw all of these massive buildings that they thought only the Cyclops could have put up. Right? They're these just towering buildings with huge columns and just massive, like the size of room columns. It's like they were just knocked out, and they realized, my goodness, what have we lost, right? They must have lost, they thought, something tremendous. And so their reaction to this was to recreate the culture as best they could, and to look back at this classic time, to write about these figures that Homer wrote about, to try to recapture that in their art and everything else, right? This was all a reaction to places that human people had left, and suddenly there's this bare spot. And I don't know if you've ever been in a place like that. You've ever gone to a place where humans once inhabited and suddenly it's just gone. There's an eerie silence there. There's the echoes of the people who've been there. I once drove through Monterey. Near Monterey, there's Fort Ord, and when I drove through there were a whole bunch of suburban houses standing, but Fort Ord had been closed, so everyone was gone. So it was just this perfect, idyllic suburban neighborhood. No one was there. It was extraordinary. I was evacuated for a forest fire one time, and somehow we didn't hear the evacuation notice, and so I woke up in my neighborhood, and everyone was gone, but all of their windows were open, and they all had left their radios on, hoping that no one would loot their houses. So I walked around my neighborhood, and all of my friends were gone, but the radios were still on, and it was I don't know, it's the eeriest thing I've ever seen in my life. And here today, where I am, we're in a picnic/campground. No one's here. I don't know why. It's the middle of summer, but it's eerie and weird and beautiful, and it's one of the most idyllic, most beautiful camping grounds you could possibly want. But that's what our poem's going to be about today. Those places that people have left, right? Now it could be a place like a ghost town. It could be looking back at this Grecian time. It could be a campground in winter. It could be anything you want. It's just fantastic, right? And once you've got that in terms of fiction, poetry, creative nonfiction, put it down below. And if you can, write about your national parks. And if you can, write about Sequoia and Kings Canyon National Park. But that's by no means a requirement. And if you're up here, if you're up around, look for me and my wife. We have days when we're teaching people how to draw, how to write, giving people prompts, doing that sort of thing. We take people on short hikes. We appear in front of ranger stations, and we will help you with your writing. Okay, that's 30 days until done, and I will see you tomorrow.